Well, I grew up in Atlanta, in Brookwood Hills. Really kind of slow life out toward Buckhead. We were good Presbyterians. Daddy later became an elder. Mother taught Sunday school. And we were very religious. It was a social club. It's where you went and you made contacts and you made your friends. There was no power in it. And my husband and I met and we married in 1964. And about 3 years later, we decided it was time to start the adoption process. We knew that that would be our path to having children. I'll never forget when they put that 4-day-old little boy in my arms. 2 years later, we adopted a little girl. And for us, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Sadly enough, the marriage was beginning to fall apart. Anyone who ever is married to someone who has substance difficulties, life is out of control. When you go through something like that, you begin to lose your identity. Well, who am I? And I remember I was in the car at a traffic light in Buckhead, and I looked up at the sky and I said, God, what is it all about? And all of a sudden I just thought, Kay Arthur is coming to teach Revelation. And I love mystery books. I'll go and figure this thing out. And so I arrived with a friend and sat in the balcony, 1,700 women. Kay Arthur walked out on that platform with this huge Bible in her hand, and she taught for 1 hour and a half as if she believed every word in that book. And that got my attention. I'd never seen that before. I thought, what have I missed? I had to go buy a Bible. Saturday morning, in the bed, with all these translations around me, I got to Matthew 16. Jesus said, Peter, who do you say that I am? He said, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God. But this is what got me. Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I thought, that's telling me I can't figure this out. And at that moment, that glory shone around me. I saw my sin, and I knew that I had no hope apart from Him. In a bucket of tears, I said, Lord, take this life of mine, take all of it, and make me the woman you want me to be. I'm yours. This started something in the family. I was desperate to wake these people up because I'd lived for 40 years thinking I was just fine, thank you very much. We would watch Gunsmoke, and the kids, they would be in their pajamas and all, and we'd sit there, and all of a sudden, they'd pull out a 6-shooter and somebody would fall dead on the barroom floor. And I'd say, did they go to hell? And so they didn't stand a chance. And it was just a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, my husband was sinking further into alcoholism. And we went in the den and he told me that while I was gone, he had packed everything of his. He's taken an apartment. He was leaving. Catherine, unfortunately, in 2009, they called me from Columbus one night to say, Catherine has died. They've discovered she had that enlarged heart that so many young athletes have at 39. And I never fell apart because I knew where she was. You can't know Christ deeply and His promises without it growing your faith to the point where you can take anything the world throws at you, and He causes all things to work together for good to those who love the Lord, those who are called according to His purpose. People were encouraging me to come to Apostles, so I said, Lord, show me where you want me by the fellowship. And I walked in that all-state building, and I declare to goodness, every single person from all forms of life that I've had would get out of their seats to come over and tell, Ann, we're so happy you're here. I got in the car to drive home. It wasn't far, but I cried all the way home. And I said, Lord, I hear you. This is where you want me. And a year and a half later, that's where I started teaching. So many wonderful things are happening. It is so exciting to see the Lord drawing people. That is what this church is doing, and that's how God is blessing. And so we always have a candlelight dinner at Christmas, the women's ministry does. All of a sudden, Lori Parker told about what they do when the young women come and they find out they're pregnant. Knit baby caps, that's what we can do. And since January, I think we have taken close to 130 caps. And we pray that the Lord will use the cap and the presentation to have that young woman choose life. Because if 2 women had not chosen life, I would not have my precious children or my 5 grandchildren. You look in your rearview mirror and you can see what He has done, and it can do nothing but grow your faith, because He said, I have you in the palm of my hand, and no one can snatch you out of my hand, no matter what life brings you. That is my testimony.